and welcome to your very first tutorial video. So the first thing you're going to have to do, if you haven't done it yet, is download the content for your practical, and that you will find under course material. Okay, so in course material you see you have lecture material, tutorials and practicals, and this is where we want to be. Okay, so you will see there's then practical 1, which we will open. And then here you have your question sheet. The memo will not be available to you guys until after your submission. So yeah, this is just my privileged view. So we have two files here that we're going to download. The first one is the historical data and the other one is the practical sheet, which gives you the instructions. So downloading first the data. Okay. Yeah, you can store this wherever you're going to find it. See, I've got a little tutoring practical 1 folder here, which is what I would use. So yeah, and as you can see, I already downloaded it before, but I'm going to download a new one. So I'm just going to say save. Yes. Okay then, and then I'm going to download the practical sheet as well. We say download and save. Okay, cool. And then you will have your practical sheet open, and I'm just going to open the practical 1 historical data set as well. So once this is open, make sure you click on enable editing, just so that you can actually do your calculations in Excel, which is what we're going to do. Okay, so the first part of this tutorial, practical. So this practical sheet, you have variables given, information on variables, their description and their range. Okay, and then at the bottom here, these are your instructions. So the first instruction is to check that all values are within the range specified. Okay, so note it just says check. The second instruction says delete all records for which exam entrance is missing. So only here do you delete. Okay. Then the third one says delete all records with EM, so exam mark greater than 0, who did not get exam entrance. Okay, and how many records are left in the data set. Then the last one is to calculate the mean for all ratio scale variables. Now ratio scale only means here where you have a percentage or where it's a number. Okay, so basically all of these, just not like the yes, no, and the unique WST number is also not viable there. APS score will be calculated and so forth. Okay, and then here you have some optional instructions which you can do to calculate the pass rate for the semester mark, the exam mark and the final mark. And for this we will just take the pass rate, the pass percentage to be 50%. So if you have more than 50%, then you pass. Okay, and another optional one is to construct a frequency distribution for exam entrance. Okay, and just before we begin, guys, I just want to say make sure that you have watched these videos. So it's also under practicals and how to use Excel functions and formulas. If you're not familiar with Excel and have not used it before, please make sure that you watch these videos and are up to date before continuing with the practical. Alright, now continuing with the practical, so just going to do this, and then the next one will be this one. Okay, so our first instruction is to check that all values are within the range specified. So here they do give you the range that they want the values in. Firstly, there's the unique WST number, then there's the APS score, then math or metric, that mark, should be a percentage, in other words between 0 and 100. And then we also have Matric English, also between 0 and 100, and then make sure that all the other marks are within these ranges. Now I'm just going to do a small example of how you can check that something is in range. So for example, if we want to check the unique WST number, we know it should be between 1 and 352. Now there are various ways you can do this, but the one I would suggest you guys do, so you will be using the minimum and maximum function to check if the minimum value in a range, what that is, or to check the maximum value. Now to check the minimum value, I'm just going to do it on the side here and say minimum of unique WST number. Okay, so that's just a label for you guys. And we're going to say, so to do this, to activate a function, you say equal sign, and then you can start typing. So we want the minimum, so we're going to start typing min. There we see a minimum pops up, min. Okay, and the description here says that it returns the smallest number in a set of values, and it ignores logical values and text. Okay, so you double click on that, then it fills into the block, and here it says it needs a list of numbers. Now you're going to select the list of numbers which you want, and these are the unique WST numbers. So what you can do, you just click on that A. So as soon as your mouse becomes a little downward arrow, you click on that and it selects your whole region. Okay, so it selects that whole column over there. So once you've done that, you just close your bracket and say enter. And there you go, there's your minimum value in this whole column A. Okay, and we see that the minimum value is 1. Great. Now let's check the maximum number. So let's say maximum of unique WST number, and for this one we can say equals to max. Exact same concept. This where we just had minimum, now we're working with maximum. This one returns the largest value. So again, we type max, select our whole region, close the bracket and say enter. Okay, and we see that unique, the maximum of the unique WST number is 357. Now going back to our questions, checking the range, we see, okay, the unique WST number should be in a range of 1 to 352. So in other words, there is something wrong here, and there is one value or more that is outside of the range. Okay. If you want to go look and further inspect this, you can sort it. So if you want to sort, you just click on the column you want to sort, go to data, and then you can sort. Okay. Firstly, it says, it gives you this, you just say expand this section and you say sort. Sort by WST, smallest to largest. Okay. Now, if you're going to scroll to the very bottom of this sheet, you will see that there are these 5 values that are actually greater than 352, which is our maximum range value. Okay, so we note that. Okay, so that's how you sort, that's how you find your minimum and maximum values. Okay, so now if we want to go on with the deleting of, so for example, this second instruction, delete all records for which exam entrance is missing. Look at this entrance table. Or, well, in this case we don't have dots, but it's just empty cells. So in order for us to go and delete these empty cells, it would be a waste of time to select each observation individually. In this case, this whole line is an observation. We will delete this whole line, not just a single block. Okay, just in case you didn't know. So instead of deleting each line individually, which you can just say right click and say delete, we don't want to do that. What we want to do, which is way more efficient, you can click on your column and then make sure here in the ribbon you are selected on data, and then you can go click on filter. Okay, then you see that little arrow appears here at the top. You click on that arrow and then it gives you all the values which it contains. There are no's, yes and blanks. Okay, deselect all, and now we're just going to select the blanks. Okay, cool. So in that case you'll say okay, and here you can see you are just left with your missing or blanks values. So in order for us to delete all of these observations, you can just go and click here on the sideline and highlight all of those observations. So it means only those observations are selected. You can just right click and say delete row. And there you go, all those rows are deleted. And now you can just say select all, say OK. And now you can see that all of these missing values are gone. And if you go on these, say OK, you'll see there are no missing values left because we deleted all of these observations. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Something you can do there. And now going on to the next question, it says delete all records with EM, so exam mark greater than 0, who did not get exam entrance. Okay, so in order for us to do this, you will have to implement filtering again, but my tip for you guys is work from the back of the question. So they say who did not get exam entrance. Okay. And once you've done that, you can go see how many observations you have. Okay, so they say how many records are left in your data set. So if you just want to see the number of records that you have, you can just click on any column, and here you will just see that count. Count is the number of records that you have. So basically, don't take this value because I did not delete all the values that are supposed to be deleted, but it's just something for you guys to see. Also, just note, if you look at that count, it also does include this first line with the headings. So make sure that if you want to see the number of records that you have, that you do not take into account this first column. Okay, so count basically gives you the cell count, how many cells are there that are selected, all the way to the bottom. So yeah, that's basically it. Just make sure. So that's me selecting it from the first observation to the last. And here you can see the count is 341, and that's how much we see there. Okay, cool. Now, for the next part of this question, they say calculate the mean for all ratio scale variables. And what does Excel do with missing values? Okay, so if you go look at the basic functions of Excel videos, you will notice that there is something called the average function. So again, if we want to activate a function, we say equals, and then we can just start typing. So we say equals average, and here we'll see the second option that appears. It's called average, so we double click on that. So this will then give you the mean. Okay, so for example, say we want to get the average of this exam mark. You can just again select the whole column close your bracket and say enter. And here you will see that your average that you get here is 51.579. Okay, so that's the average I got here for exam mark. Again, just note I did not delete all my observations in the previous part of the question, so this answer that you might get here might be different than mine. Okay, actually it should be different, or not. Well, yeah, it's up to you guys. So yeah, basically that is how you would calculate an average. So again, just to recap, you say equal sign, start typing average, select the second one, make sure to double click and don't say enter as soon as this, because if I say enter for example here, it gives you an error. So yeah, don't, just make sure you close all your parentheses and that you actually have data in there. So for example, again, if we want to take the average of the unique, oh no, what happened here? Equals average. So say we want the average of the unique WST number, just select that whole region, close your bracket and say enter. Here you can see the average is 180.369. Okay, so that is your average, that your for your ratio scale variables. And then you guys can go and deduce what does Excel do if there are missing values. Now there are some optional calculations that you can do. I'm not going to go into detail with this. This is for your own learning, studying, and increasing your knowledge. So you guys can go and do research, go Google how to calculate the pass rate or how to construct a frequency distribution in Excel. So basically that is for your own general knowledge, but it will be applicable in the future, so it's good if you guys can do it. And yeah, that is basically it for this practical video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and that it was informative. If you guys have any questions or anything is unclear, please do not hesitate to mention it to us in the discussion board. Okay, well, enjoy guys and good luck with this practical.